Coming to you live from West Liberty High School, ISASP Video 2024.
Good morning, students. I'm Mr. Gaines, your assistant principal, and with me, as always, is my trusty sidekick, Mr. Gaines. How you doing, Mr. Gaines?
Well, thanks, Mr. Gaines. I can't tell you how much I love making these videos with you. Thanks for the invite. I'm super excited about this video.
Healthy and energetic as always. All right. This video today is to discuss next week's schedule, ISASP testing week.
Let's go!
Before you get all, ISASP testing week, I can't stress the importance of next week, right, Mr. Gaines? Like, next week is going to be very important, okay? So this video is to discuss the schedule for next week, which is important. A little bit of different change in schedule. Also, we're going to talk about just the expectations while testing and things like that. And then we're also going to talk about some of the statistics from last year to this year and looking at how we compare to other school districts around our area. But I would be missing out if I didn't bring in some extra characters into this year's ISASP video. Now, I haven't told Mr. Gaines about this, so we'll have to see how he takes it. Doesn't like to share the limelight very much. But let's get to it. I have a special guest here today, which is Mr. Comet Man. Comet Man, why don't you come on out and join our crew here today for the ISASP video.
Where's your comic gear at? Oh, well, how'd you do that? You're wearing the same stuff I am. Well, you got cooler glasses. We gotta talk about this, Mr. Gaines.
Right. Looks like we're gonna have to work on our crew here, but I think Mr. Gaines is gonna be all right. All right, so we're gonna dive right in here with our special guests here, and I can't stress this enough for this year, which is just try your best on ISASP testing. That's the best you can do is next week, and we're gonna talk about some of the things that help you prepare for that. But again, as you look to next week, the main goal we want to stress is to just try your very best. Okay. So let's get started, and hopefully we can come together as a team here.
So here is the general testing schedule for next week. So starting on Monday, you'll report at 8:15 to your testing location, where you're sitting right now. All right, then from 8:15 to 8:55, you'll enjoy a nice breakfast, do some practice tests, get comfortable. Then from 8:55 to 10:05, we'll begin testing. And that's where we stress, do your very best. Then at about 10:05, we'll collect all testing materials, and then that bell rings at 10:10 to report to your first hour class. Here's how the test will be arranged next week. Starting Monday, we'll have the language and writing test. On Tuesday, we will have the wonderful and powerful mathematics test. On Wednesday, we'll reward you with no tests, so we'll have a regular Wednesday schedule. On Thursday, we will get back to our reading test. And finally, on Friday, we'll finish up with 10th grade taking the science test. We'll have some makeup time. We'll also incorporate the Conditions for Learning survey. Now we're going to take a minute to review those testing expectations. So prior to the test, we got to make sure we try and get a good night's sleep. Also very important to charge your computer. And also bring a book to read after you're done with your testing. All right, here's some testing expectations during the test. Now, if we haven't made it clear yet, it's very important you try your very best on the test. And to do that, make sure you take your time. Don't rush through the problems. Don't guess. Just try your very best. If you need to guess, take an educated guess. And then also remember to use all those resources available on the screen. After you've completed your test and you've given everything you have and you've given it your very best, you can read the book that you brought. You can rest your head on the table, and then make sure that you be respectful of those still working.
All right, welcome back. Hey, thanks, Common Man, for helping me out with all those expectations there. That's a good job. Good job. Wait,
Hold on, Mr.
what's wrong?
There's something very important we need to cover in our expectations.
That is very important. Why don't you dive into that one?
A couple of important rules to remember prior to the test. Make sure to arrive to school on time. Do not be late. Also, very important, no phones allowed. This is not a West Liberty rule, this is a state rule. So please leave your phones in your locker or you will hand it to a teacher. Thank you.
All right, welcome back. Thanks, Common Man. I forgot about that very, very important thing about cell phones. You can see I don't have any characters around me. All kidding aside, I want to make sure this next part we kind of dive deep into a little bit of the data from last year and how we can really do well this year. Okay, so sit back, just give me a quick 2 minutes, just go over some of the data and how we compare to other school districts, because I think it's very important because it shows how we can compete against our other schools around us.
Now, throughout this video, you've heard me and the cast of characters talk about trying to do your very best next week. Now let's talk about why that's so important. So number one, that ISASP test scores are used by the school and teachers to set goals and make changes to the curriculum. So if we have inaccurate data, we may make some changes that won't benefit the school or you. Number two, your score is a data point to determine whether you can take college courses. So that's very important, looking at your success for the future. Number three, kind of an interesting one, it provides you with an accurate look at where you stand amongst your peers. So at the end of this test, you'll get your data back and it'll give you a percentage point as to where you stand. So that's why it's so important to try your very best, so you get some accurate measurement of where you stand. And number four is one of the highest weighted data points on the Iowa School Performance Profile. Let's dive a little bit more into that. So the Iowa School Performance Profile is developed by the state, and it gives each school district and schools within that district a score. Now this score, you can look up any school you want on iowaschoolperformance.gov. But really what I want to specify and why it's so important is that ISASP scores make up 40% of our school performance grade. Now, you can also see by this chart that a lot of that weight comes from just growth. So a majority of that 40% is just based upon you growing from year to year. And so that's why it's so important that you try your very best in comparison to the previous year, because then we can see that growth happen. Now you can notice here that previous year, so in 2021 and last year's test, we had a great growth in both your growth in math and ELA and our overall proficiency. Now in math, we had a little bit of problem with growth. We were -1, but that's okay. Now this upcoming year, we want to make sure that we try our very best so we can really gain in those growth areas to improve our score. Now, as I said, the Iowa School Performance is based upon a little different components, but again, 40% of that is based on ISASP testing. Now, here's a little scoreboard based off of last year's testing and some other components. You can see that we are at 50.75 as a score. Now, understand that doesn't mean it's an F. It's just a culmination of all the points that are available for that. We are designated as acceptable, but you can see how we compare to other districts. And we are only 6 points away from being at the top of this list. And you can look at our score last year. We had an increase of 1.05 points. So we did increase where some districts fell down a little bit. So we really got to hone in and take advantage of this opportunity and do the best we possibly can on our ISASP testing.
Welcome back. Mr. Gaines, a little dense for me, but I'm sure Common Man here enjoyed the presentation. You know what, man? I gotta say, you're pretty cool, dude. You're pretty awesome. You're pretty cool.
I had a great time. Good luck on your tests.
All right, everybody. Do your very best. Let's get it done.